Peter Parker, also known as Spider-Man, had always been used to dealing with dangerous situations and powerful enemies. But nothing could have prepared him for the arrival of Venom and his symbiote offsprings in his apartment. As Venom and his offsprings, Carnage, Scream, and Agony, entered Peter's room, he quickly closed the windows to prevent any exposure to the outside world. Using the AI device from his pocket, Peter created a separate symbiote room for them, complete with high-tech amenities. Venom and his offspring stared at Peter, unsure of what to do next. Peter instructed them to stay inside their room and do nothing, before closing the high-tech door behind him. He had to focus on his own tasks, balancing heroism with college responsibilities. Despite his busy schedule, Peter often visited the symbiote room to check on Venom and his offsprings. They were always seen chilling and resting, enjoying the comfort of the room Peter had created for them. As days passed, Peter found himself growing fond of the symbiote family. He would sometimes engage in conversations with them, learning more about their origins and abilities. Venom, Carnage, Scream, and Agony were not just powerful beings, but also individuals with their own personalities and desires. But as Peter continued to juggle his duties as Spider-Man and student, he couldn't help but wonder about the future of Venom and his offsprings. Would they always remain confined to the symbiote room, or would they eventually seek out their own path in the world? Only time would tell, as Peter Parker and the symbiote family navigated through the challenges and adventures that lay ahead. And through it all, they would learn that sometimes, the most unexpected alliances can lead to the greatest of victories. Peter Parker, also known as Spider-Man, had always been used to dealing with dangerous situations. But when Venom and his symbiote offsprings, Carnage, Scream, and Agony, showed up at his apartment, he knew he had to act fast. Closing the windows to avoid any unwanted attention, Peter quickly used his AI device to create a separate symbiote room for the creatures. The room was equipped with high-tech amenities, including a television, bedroom, and table. As Venom and his offspring settled into their new space, Peter warned them to stay put and not cause any trouble. With a final glance, he closed the door behind him, leaving the symbiotes to rest and relax. Outside, Peter continued to juggle his responsibilities as both a hero and a college student. But he made sure to check in on Venom and his offsprings regularly, ensuring they were comfortable and content in their new environment. Despite the initial tension, a bond began to form between Peter and the symbiotes. They may have been dangerous creatures, but Peter saw the potential for good within them. And as they spent more time together, he realized that they were more than just monsters, they were a family. Together, they faced new challenges and adventures, proving that even the most unlikely allies could come together for a common cause. And as they fought side by side, Peter knew that he had found a new kind of family in Venom and his symbiote offsprings. The story of their unlikely alliance spread throughout the city, inspiring hope and unity in the face of adversity. And as they continued to protect the city from evil, Peter and the symbiotes proved that even the darkest of creatures could find redemption in the light. In the bustling city of New York, Peter Parker, also known as Spider-Man, found himself facing a new challenge. The Venom symbiote and his offsprings, Carnage, Scream, and Agony, had come seeking refuge in his apartment. With their long symbiote hair like tendrils and menacing presence, Peter knew he had to act quickly to keep them hidden from the public eye. Using his AI device, Peter created a separate symbiote room for Venom and his offsprings. The room was equipped with high-tech amenities, including a television, bedroom, and table. As Venom and his offspring settled into their new space, Peter instructed them to stay inside and do nothing to draw attention to themselves. Despite the chaos of his superhero duties and college tasks, Peter made sure to check in on Venom and his offsprings regularly. He would visit their symbiote room, finding them chilling and resting peacefully. It was a strange sight to see the once fearsome symbiotes now living in harmony under Peter's care. As days passed, Peter grew accustomed to the presence of Venom and his offsprings in his apartment. He found himself forming a bond with the symbiotes, understanding that they were not inherently evil but simply misunderstood. Together, they navigated the challenges of balancing heroism and everyday life. Through their interactions, Peter learned more about the symbiotes' past and the struggles they faced. He realized that they were not so different from himself, seeking acceptance and a place to call home. As he delved deeper into their world, Peter discovered a newfound sense of empathy and compassion for his unlikely roommates. In the end, Peter's bond with Venom and his offsprings transcended their differences. They became a makeshift family, supporting each other through thick and thin. And as they faced new threats and challenges together, Peter knew that he had found true allies in the most unexpected of places. The story of Peter Parker, Spider-Man, and the symbiotes was one of unlikely friendships, redemption, and the power of understanding. And as they continued to navigate the complexities of their intertwined lives, they found solace in the knowledge that they were stronger together than they ever were apart. Peter Parker, also known as Spider-Man, had always been used to dealing with dangerous situations. But when Venom and his symbiote offsprings, Carnage, Scream, and Agony, showed up at his apartment, he knew he had to act fast to keep them from causing chaos in the city. Closing the windows to prevent any unwanted attention, Peter quickly used his AI device to create a separate symbiote room for the creatures. The room was equipped with high-tech amenities, including a television, bedroom, and table, to keep them comfortable and contained. As Venom and his offspring settled into their new space, Peter warned them to stay put and not cause any trouble. With a heavy heart, he closed the door behind him, leaving the symbiotes to rest and relax in their own world. Outside, Peter continued to juggle his responsibilities as both a hero and a college student. But he always made time to check on Venom and his offsprings, making sure they were safe and content in their symbiote room. Despite the initial tension, a bond began to form between Peter and the symbiotes. They may have been dangerous creatures, but they were also in need of care and understanding. And Peter was determined to provide that for them, no matter what challenges came their way. As the days passed, the symbiotes began to show signs of change. They were no longer the mindless monsters they once were, but beings capable of compassion and loyalty. And Peter knew that with his guidance, they could become something truly extraordinary. Together, they faced new threats and challenges, but through it all, they stood united as a team. Venom, Carnage, Scream, Agony, and Peter Parker, a group of unlikely allies fighting for justice in a world that often misunderstood them. And as they continued to grow and evolve, they proved that even the most unlikely of friendships could lead to greatness. In the end, they were not just a team, they were a family, bound by love, loyalty, and the shared desire to make the world a better place. And so, the story of Venom and his symbiote offsprings, alongside their unlikely ally Peter Parker, continued to unfold, with new adventures and challenges waiting around every corner. But one thing was certain, together, they were unstoppable. In the bustling city of New York, Peter Parker, also known as Spider-Man, found himself facing a new challenge. The Venom symbiote and his offsprings, Carnage, Scream, and Agony, had lost their purpose and were seeking refuge in Peter's apartment. As the symbiotes entered Peter's room, he quickly closed the windows to prevent any unwanted attention. Using his AI device, Peter created a separate symbiote room for Venom and his offsprings, complete with high-tech amenities. Stay inside this room and do nothing, Peter instructed them before closing the door behind him. He had to focus on his duties as both a hero and a college student, leaving the symbiotes to rest and relax in their new space. Despite his busy schedule, Peter would often visit the symbiote room to check on Venom and his offsprings. They would be seen chilling and resting, enjoying the comfort of the room Peter had created for them. As Peter continued to balance his responsibilities, he couldn't help but feel a sense of connection to the symbiotes. They may have been misunderstood creatures, but in their own way, they were just looking for a place to belong. Through action-packed adventures and heartfelt moments, Peter and the symbiotes formed an unlikely bond. Together, they faced new challenges and discovered the true meaning of family. In the end, Peter realized that sometimes, the most unexpected friendships can bring about the greatest rewards. And as he swung through the city, he knew that he had found a new kind of heroism in accepting and embracing those who were different from himself.